Alexa, how do we give hope to people?
From americamagazine.org, we minister hope through acts of kindness and attentiveness.
Yeah, all right.
Today, the true message of Star Trek through the wonderful film Star Trek First Contact. This and more on Cinema Unites the World. Welcome back. How you doing? I'm Jordan Rockwell, and thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button below, and as I wish to grow this channel, email me at cinemaunitestheworld@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram at cinema unites the world, and you can follow me also on Twitter at JERcinema. Star Trek First Contact is the film I'm going to be discussing today. I have seen new Star Trek shows, one episode each, and it really didn't speak to me. It didn't really get my gears going. And then I heard that Star Trek Picard Season 3 was fantastic, getting raves, and sure enough, it's the best Star Trek I've seen in a very long time. And I'll gush about it at a different time. Hi, Chewbacca. You hear him barking. Anyway, but I recommend it. It's on Paramount Plus. So, Star Trek First Contact. It is available for free if you have HBO Max. It was released in the fall of 1996. For me, that was my freshman year of college. I remember seeing it in the theater twice. I loved it. I don't care for the other Next Generation pictures. I don't think they work very well. But this one was fantastic. It was written by Brendan Braga and Ronald D. Moore, directed by Jonathan Frakes, who also plays Commander Riker. And of course, scored by the late, great Jerry Goldsmith. Speaking of which, when they talk about composers in Hollywood, the one that is mentioned always is John Williams, and for good reason. But another great one was Jerry Goldsmith. And I don't want to get a copyright strike, so I'm going to go ahead and put the link to the main theme of Star Trek First Contact in the description box. So go ahead, hit the pause button, click it, and close your eyes. And listen. See you soon. Welcome back. When I hear this, I feel optimism. I feel hope. I feel courage and kindness. Most of us human beings are shades of gray. If you're watching this, I'm sure you're a good person, but we are all capable of evil. Captain Jean-Luc Picard learns this fact in this film. It takes inner strength plus good friends and mentors, which he's lucky to have, to go back to the light. And for me, I know I have two good wolves in my head, the masculine and the feminine, and we all have a mix of both to some extent. We need both. But I also have a bad wolf: jealousy, anger, vengeance, sexist, bigoted, so on. As do you. And what I've come to discover in the world we live in today, 2023, especially with social media, it's taking over our lives. It's by design. It's intended to bring out our bad wolves only, and we have to fight this. So on to Captain Picard. These four pictures are spin-offs from the TV show Star Trek: The Next Generation. Again, I'm assuming you have no basis of knowing Star Trek. You don't have to like this movie. If I've piqued your interest in watching Star Trek First Contact through showing you what I believe are the themes, then right on. And these themes are revenge, and how if you go on a quest for revenge, you must first dig two graves. So perhaps maybe go to HBO Max and watch the film first. And once again, you do not have to be a Star Trek fan to like this film. It's very accessible. So, Star Trek First Contact. It's the 24th century. Humanity has and is continuing to explore the stars with a diverse group of species. So we got humans, Vulcans, Klingons, Andorians, and so on. Earth is a paradise all over. The Enterprise D is the flagship of Starfleet. D in the TV show, E in the film I'm talking about. Starfleet is the military wing of the Federation, the United Federation of Planets. So planets from all over the galaxy have come together to explore together peacefully, to seek out strange new worlds and new civilizations and boldly go where no one has gone before. So Jean-Luc Picard, Captain Jean-Luc Picard, has been the captain of the Enterprise D, this is back in the TV show 35 years ago, for a few years when they encounter a hostile species called the Borg. They are of a hive mind, and they kidnap people, humans, Vulcans, whatever, and turn them into themselves, Borg. Each individual has their individuality erased, or I should say suppressed and silenced. They are all of one hive mind. They do not compromise, they conquer, they destroy, they are pure evil. And they want us. And one day they hatched a plan. It's a two-part episode of The Best of Both Worlds, part 1 and 2. From end of season 3 into season 4, they kidnap Captain Picard and turn him into a Borg. Right before they attack and grab him, they announce their intentions.
We are the Borg. Lower your shields and surrender your ships. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Your culture will adapt to serve as us. Resistance is futile.
All units, open fire. Rebuttal is shield detect. They've broken through the defense perimeter.
They're not screwing around, and they chose Captain Picard for a reason, for his knowledge. When they assimilate you, they get all of you. They get all your brain. And as a result, the Borg use his knowledge to invade our solar system. Starfleet stops them, meets them right outside at Wolf 359, and 90% of our fleet is wiped out by a Borg cube. It's their spaceship. One of the things that makes the Borg so deadly, besides their one hive mind, is that they adapt. So for example, you fire a phaser at them, they'll take one down. Fire a phaser at another one, they adapt, and that phaser setting no longer works. And in those 2 episodes of The Best of Both Worlds, they are ready to let Captain Picard go. What choice do they have? But with the help of Lieutenant Commander Worf, Data, Dr. Crusher, through their ingenuity, Commander Riker takes command and is able to rescue Captain Picard. Otherwise known as Locutus of Borg. They gave him a name. No other Borg has a name. They did that on purpose. Ultimately, they're able to defeat the Borg through empathy. Sleep. Since Captain Picard, having been rescued, is still a Borg, he's still connected to the hive mind, and they are able to send a message to go to sleep to the Borg through him. So they turn it around on them. Through empathy, ultimately, what drives that is intelligence, empathy, compassion, decency, something the Borg will never have. All your enemies have a weak spot. Just gotta find it. Afterwards, Jean-Luc Picard is traumatized. No doubt, post-traumatic stress disorder. And when we find him at the beginning of Star Trek First Contact, he's still traumatized. He's still having nightmares. While it may be true that in a later episode before First Contact, Jean-Luc has the opportunity to destroy the Borg but decides not to. That doesn't mean, that's his brain talking, that doesn't mean he is still not traumatized in his soul. And that's where we find him in this film. In the beginning, the Borg attack the Earth again. The Enterprise E, because the D was destroyed in an earlier film, whatever. Destroy the Borg cube attacking Earth. However, the Borg, in a last-ditch effort, create a time warp and travel back in time to 2063 in order to assimilate Earth in the past. And Jean-Luc orders the Enterprise to follow them into the wormhole to stop them. So why am I talking about a 28-year-old movie? 27-year? Whatever, 1996. Here's the thing that people don't think about much about Star Trek. In the Star Trek universe is based on our time. Star Wars is fantasy. This is science fiction, which can theoretically happen. In other episodes of Star Trek, they go back in time on Earth many times. Starfleet headquarters is located in San Francisco. James T. Kirk is from Iowa. Jean-Luc Picard is from France, even though he has an English accent, go figure. And in the 23rd, 24th century, as I said before, Earth is a paradise. In 2063, it's not. It's post-World War III. I hear my children in the background. Are you afraid of that? World War III? I know I am. By 2063, the nukes have been launched. There is some kind of economy, lots of factions, lots of violence. It's awful. And there's a man named Zefram Cochrane. Who's that? Well, he will invent warp drive in 2063. The Borg know this and have traveled back in time to stop him. Now, side note, and Starfleet has a rule, which is not to interfere with other species at all until said species invents warp drive. Why this is that Starfleet reasons that if a species is able to achieve warp drive, they have achieved world peace. They figured out how to get along peacefully. In 2023, we have not figured out how to do that yet. And who are we kidding? In the Star Trek universe, at this time, the Vulcans know about us, and they're not going anywhere near us, at least not in a way that we're aware of. There was an episode of Star Trek Enterprise in which, surprise, they showed up in the 50s, but never mind that. It's understandable how so many of us today are very cynical, and your worst enemy is within. The bad wolf, I know I got one, wants you to be cynical, and Star Trek is about hope and optimism. Star Trek isn't telling you that you're going to have no problems or no bad things are going to happen to you. They're inevitable. It's what do you do about it? So what kind of attitude do you have?
You know, there will be a time when you will need to remember that no matter how bleak or unwinnable a situation, as long as you and your crew remain steadfast in your dedication one to another, you are never, ever without hope.
We have ideas about people, and a piece of advice that I've gotten, that I've heard many times is don't ever meet your heroes because you might be disappointed. And in the film Star Trek First Contact, Zefram Cochrane is the hero of the Federation. He invented warp drive for humanity. It was a pivotal point for us where we finally grew up and joined the stars. It's something we should be striving for right now. It's the greatest good, and the Borg are there to stop us because they can. So while they're on Earth in 2063, the crew of the Enterprise helping Zefram Cochrane repair the damage that the Borg did to his ship, they're all geeking out over Zefram Cochrane. But what they discover is that he's not some shining hero. He's a human being with flaws. And he wasn't trying to reach the stars, he's just trying to get laid. And there's a great scene when Zefram Cochrane, played by the wonderful James Cromwell, and Commander Riker, played by Jonathan Frakes, are getting ready to launch, and they're having a talk, and he confesses to Riker, I didn't want to change the world, I just wanted to be on an island with naked women, and I don't even like to fly. I take trains. So at least in 2063, there are still trains. And Commander Riker replies, someone once said, don't try to be a great man, just be a man and let history make their own judgments. And Cochrane says, rhetorical nonsense, who said that? And Riker replies, you did, 10 years from now. So back to Captain Picard. When he earlier in the picture, when he arrives on Earth in 2063, post-apocalyptic Earth, he meets Zefram Cochrane, and he also meets Lily, Cochrane's best friend, played by the great Alfred Woodard, and Lily becomes Jean-Luc's friend, confidant, and mentor. And she observes that Jean-Luc is making bad decisions because he's operating out of a sense of revenge. The Borg are different. As I said before, the Borg don't have feelings. They're just single-minded terminators. Single-minded. At the same time, while Jean-Luc is getting to know Lily, the Borg have made their way to the Enterprise and have begun to assimilate the Enterprise deck by deck, crew member by crew member. And it gets to a point towards the end where everyone but Jean-Luc has accepted that they have lost the Enterprise. They plead with Captain Picard, please abandon ship, blow it up. It's the only way to save Earth. We're not going home, but we'll save the future. He won't do it. And Lieutenant Commander Worf says, "Sir, we have lost the Enterprise." And Jean-Luc replies to a Klingon, "You wanted to destroy the ship and run away, you coward." And Worf gets in his face and says, "If you were any other man, I'd kill you where you stand." You don't call a Klingon a coward. They are always ready to die and go to Sovacor. That's Klingon heaven. Jean-Luc has lost the plot. He's lost his way, and only Lily can show him. And this wonderful scene, which if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about, she calls him out. She's been watching him. She's observed his rage, and she knows what that is like. She correctly accuses him of liking violence. Pride and vengeance will kill you and your soul.
Saving the future of humanity!
Jean-Luc, blow up the damn ship!
No! No!
In this scene, she compares him to Ahab. Gotta hunt that whale. The Borg hurt you, and now you're going to hurt them. He piled upon the whale's white hump the sum of all the general rage and hate felt by his whole race from Adam down. And then, as if his chest had been a mortar, he burst his hot heart's shell upon it. Herman Melville, Moby Dick. This is, in the Joseph Campbell sense, Jean-Luc's innermost cave moment. It's when he looks at his soul and sees that what damaged it is not his fault. It is his responsibility to heal it. Because by looking outward for the blame, other people are suffering. He accepts what he must do. And in letting go of his pain, letting go of his ego and pride, they are all able to finally defeat the Borg and the Borg Queen. There's a Borg Queen, never mind that, it's not important for today's show. And they save the future. And in the end, Zefram Cochrane successfully completes his warp drive voyage, and the Vulcans arrive. And they say,
"Live long and prosper."
so now it's the end. It's time for the Enterprise to go back to their time, to the 24th century, and Jean-Luc and Lily have their goodbye. And she says to him, "You know, I envy you the world you're going to." And he responds, "And I envy you, Lily, taking these first steps." Hey, Jean-Luc, come on. I think we'd all rather be in the 24th century, especially now. So, if you're someone with really strong political beliefs, I know I got them, and maybe you have some anger and some bitterness towards people who disagree with you, maybe you want revenge, but also you want to reach out. You know that's your bad wolf, and you want to see the humanity of somebody that you disagree with. Do you wish to agree to disagree and talk about something else that you have in common, maybe? Do you wish to find common ground? And maybe appropriately saying, as they say in the Star Trek universe, the title of those 2 Borg episodes, "The Best of Both Worlds." Do you pray for your enemies, so-called? I have, and I will tell you something about me. More than once, a little bird has told me, and I mean a mutual friend, that someone or more than one person who has hurt me has gotten hurt even worse, humiliated. They humiliated me, and now they got humiliated. I laughed for 1 minute, and that was the last time. This going forward, every time I have heard this happen more than once, I pray for them. So if you're someone who has negative feelings you don't want, if you have feelings of vengeance, but some small part of you doesn't, I ask you to listen to that small part. The small part is right. The crowd isn't always right. the majority is not always right. And that goes for you too, internally. And rage destroys you. It has destroyed me in a lot of ways. And I don't want it. So if you can relate to that, this picture is for you. In fact, for Star Trek First Contact is for all of us in 2023. I have anger still. I have bitterness still. Pain, anxiety, depression, like we all do. But I don't want it. And I really hope we can get that warp drive going before World War III happens. As the saying goes, we don't know what weapons World War III will be fought with, but we do know that World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. And you do not have to have children, as I do, to be concerned about this. I am for things and against other things, and I am 100% always against pessimism. Because an optimistic future was always Gene Roddenberry's goal, his glorious goal. It's worth fighting for. That word, optimism. And that's all she wrote for today. So thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe to my channel below and share it with your friends, and share Gene Roddenberry's message of optimism, which of course I'm always going to share here on Cinema Unites the World. We will have hats and bracelets available on jordanrockwell.com very soon. Thank you so much for stopping by. Remember, Cinema Unites the World, and live long and prosper. Thanks a lot.